there everyone, this is Rina Hicks. I am from Faida Investment Bank, and for the purpose of this video we are talking about Oak Special Fund, and the theme for this series is really just looking under the hood. And I have with me our head of operations in the global markets department. And so without any further ado, there are those things, by the way, you see, but you don't know what happens in the back end. You see a beautiful cake, but you have no idea what it takes to mix this yummy thing that you enjoy eating. So I want to give you a slight view on what goes on in the back end. So I have with me Joshua Mwanjama, who's our head of operations. Welcome, Joshua.
So hi everyone. Like Rina has mentioned, it's glad to be here. And my name is Joshua Mwanjama. I'm the head of operations for global markets at Faida Investment Bank. So basically, I head the back office operations team at Faida, mainly dealing with the transactions that happen in the Oak Special Fund. So the Oak Special Fund is like, it's a unit trust scheme. So basically, we handle everything to do with reporting for the fund. That's both to the regulator, to the trustees, and the corresponding third parties. And also now we do reporting now to our clients and all the transactions that transpire with regards to opening their client accounts, managing their transactions, that's initial investment, top-ups, and even when they put in a request to redeem, we're the one who will facilitate that particular transaction. And at the end of the month, we'll be able to facilitate the monthly statements to our clients and be able to keep them updated with how their investments are running. So basically, in a nutshell, that's what operation does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds very simple, but it's not. In fact, when Anthony Kempati was here, he was talking about the fact that one of the first things that he does when he comes to the office is get in touch with the operations department. Maybe you can just talk a little bit about that. Why is it important for him or the dealing team in general to speak to the ops team?
So just to pick up on the initial conversation that Anthony had already laid grounds on. So I'd say operations acts like the executionary arm of whatever dealers plan out. So in the morning, as he comes in to touch base with us, we usually do something called cash balance reporting, whereby we look at our accounts and all the cash flow that is available that has not been already allocated for either trade settlement that particular day. So we look at the cash balance, what has been allocated for trades that particular day, and any extra cash that has come in for the day that can be considered for that particular settlement. So that we don't have any idle cash lying around, so that we fully maximize the value of the fund. Because basically we are in the business of making the most out of Oak Special Fund. That includes everything to do with available cash and whether we are having any proceeds in terms of cash flow coming in or cash flow moving out of the fund, and how we'll manage those transactions in the course of the day. Yeah. So that's very important so that the dealers are fully aware of what they're looking at and how they can play around with the securities that they are looking to get into in that particular day.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it helps with knowing what the liquidity is,
Correct.
How much you have available, how much has been requested for withdrawal, so
Correct.
that you know that cannot be
that
part
is
of
not
what
part
you
of,
invest.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay. Really interesting. So let's go into onboarding. So a client comes either in person or sends a form or goes on our app or goes on the web application and puts in an application. Why does it take 24 hours to open an account?
That's a good question, and actually it's within 24 hours, could be less. Actually, ideally it should be less, but opening an account is not just. Let me give from the top. So we have different types of accounts. Basically, there are like three. So you can either have an individual account, a joint account, or a corporate account. All these three have the specific KYCs required as per the type of account that is being opened. If it's an individual, we're required to verify your KYC details, which will be a copy of your national ID or a passport, the PIN certificate, there'll be a copy of a bank statement or a proof of banking, and then there's also funding for that particular, how you intend on transferring funds to that account. So we'd require those particular KYCs and also to verify them for an individual account, and we'll do that for the other party if it's a joint account. So we'll do both. You'll do such checks for both an individual and for a joint. And for corporate entities, the KYCs might be a bit similar, but they'll be different in the sense that you're not dealing with an individual, rather you're dealing with an institution that is already registered, so there'll be a certificate of registration for that institution. and there'll be also a tax certificate for that particular entity. And then there'll be details such as a resolution by that company expressing interest in investing in Oak Special Fund. And it will be signed off by a specific set of directors or the shareholders of that entity, just to confirm that we truly want to invest with Oak Fund, so that we have all our documents in order, so that by the time we're opening and setting up the account, we know who's the responsible persons and the ones who have signing mandates for that particular account. Yeah. So moving forward, we begin our relationship now at a point where we know who are the respective persons that we are dealing with in terms of that particular account. So those are some of the checks we take into account while opening accounts. Yeah. That's why it may take a bit of time.
Which is important for people to understand. Actually, one of the things, in addition to all of that, is making sure that the client's invested funds, the sources are known.
Correct.
Because one of the challenges we have as a country is that we're grey listed, and that just basically means that we have been put on a list to be observed.
Yes.
By international companies, international people, government, because there's been a lot of monies that are not clean.
Yes.
And so as an industry, as the financial services industry in Kenya, both banks, investment banks, stockbrokers, we are required to make sure that we know the source of funds that
Correct.
are coming in. And it might be an inconvenience for clients in the sense that it's not an automatic, immediate setup, like real time, but that's because we have to do all these different checks, make sure we know who these people are, that they're not using fake IDs or fake, so really, really, really important. So what else, other than checking the balances, making sure that dealers are trading on amounts that are free,
yes,
and also onboarding, what else does the operations department do?
We think just to develop the conversation further, you would say we do correspondences with various service providers. Operations lies at a very central position, that we're at the center of most of the correspondences, in that we do reporting to the regulator on a regular basis. Particularly, we do quarterly reports to Capital Markets Authority, telling them, or rather informing them of how the fund is operating in terms of the number of clients that are in the fund, in terms of the assets being managed, and in terms of reporting on a regular basis. And we are also under the viewership of our trustees. We don't, the fund doesn't operate separately. We have, I'd say, a watchdog that puts us in check, us and the custodian, now this being the trustee. So we do quarterly reports to the trustee. So we usually have meetings every quarter where we give them our positions in terms of how the fund is operating, who are the unit holders in the fund, the largest withdrawals, the largest deposit into the fund, and any other movement that have transpired. So, and that one, we handle all these operations through our custodian. We don't manage funds for the unit trust under, let's say, Faida's bank accounts. Rather, it's managed under a custodian account. So we correspond on a daily basis with our custodian. They're the ones who have our collection accounts where we'll be receiving the funds into. They're the ones who manage our investment account where we'll be doing the settlements and purchase of securities and sale of securities in the investment account. And whenever we need to pay out clients, we would fund the necessary disbursement account, also housed at the custodian, which is our bank, I&M Bank, that will facilitate that payout. So it's always a correspondence between several parties on a daily basis on how we can interact as best to maximize the full value of the fund. So that's also something that we do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the final thing I want us to go into is the fact that we've gone into a process of making it easy for clients to get information from us. From onboarding to checking account balances to requesting withdrawals. And so perhaps you can just go into a bit of a deep dive into what we've done and how can people access this information for those who are clients or want to set up an account.
Great. So setting up an account has been made easy. We've been working with our service provider, the one that we're currently using to manage our portfolio. We manage our portfolio through a fund management system. So through the service providers of that fund management system, they've been able to create an online portal and also an app that someone can be able to onboard themselves. But most importantly, for existing clients, they can be able to view their accounts on a regular basis. So you can use the app or the portal to either create an account. You can create an account either as an individual or as a joint. Once you've been set up, or rather if you're already an existing client, you have the option of activating your portal. Once you activate, you'll be able to view your account. And once you're there, you can log in and you'll have all the details that pertain your account. That means you can be able to see such information as the biodata, that's the details that have been captured, and that's the full names, the email address, the phone number that you use, the bank account details that you provided whenever you want to make a payout to. And most importantly, we've been able to facilitate an avenue for you to even view statements. But the statements can only be viewed as per what has already been reported and published. Like particularly because at the end of this quarter, the very latest statements that we issued a few days back was the statements at the end of last month. So currently, if you log into that portal, the very latest accessible statement would be the statement as at the end of last month. However, if you've been a client for longer than that, you can be able to access all the other previous month statements. So it's not a matter of just the current reporting month, but rather all the other previous months. And also, the app has been enabled in such a way that you can be able to do tailor-made messages to us. There's a portal for writing a message. And once you do a message to us and send it out like an email, it will come to the back office operations whereby we would be able to process your request. And on the same channel, someone can be able to issue a request for withdrawal once your 6 months period has lapsed. And we would be able to verify that we've received such a request from a client who has user credentials, access to that portal, and has been able to launch the request. So we'll verify that against now the details on record, and we would be able to now to process such a request within 48 hours. So the app has been made in such a way that it's robust enough. You can even be able to log in and view such information as the bank account details to use whenever you want to make a top up. So it kind of works hand in hand with your relationship manager. You can be able to now basically do most of the functionality as a client through the app and portal.
How often do we send out statements?
So for the Oak Special Fund, well, it's a unit trust, and we are obligated to send a notification to our clients as to how the fund is operating. Now, particularly for Oak Special Fund, we do that on a monthly basis. So statements should be sent out to the email address on record for all our clients by the 5th of the next month. So that means every month, once a month closes, let's say a month has closed on the 30th, 5 days later, or within 5 days, they should be able to get a copy of their statement sent to the email address on record. However, as I mentioned on the fact that we already have a portal and an app that's operational, someone can actually view their regular statements the moment we close a reporting period. By the 5th of that particular next month, they can be able to access such statements on the portal and be able to verify that they match as per what has already been shared also on email. Okay. So that functionality has been enabled to all our clients.
Okay. I know you've dealt with this in another video, so I'll just highlight in terms of when people want to top up their account. What are the different modes? And great. When they top up, do they have to send the slip to Joshua's team? What happens, and how can what are the options here?
Great. Actually, the topping up is not necessarily just topping, even initial deposit. So what we've enabled our system is that the moment someone has been onboarded, that's for new clients, you get a notification telling you that Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so has been onboarded, and this is your account detail, and this is your particular account number. And there's an attachment to that notification, which is the Business Connect guide. So we've done a partnership with our custodian bank to have something known as a Business Connect, whereby you can do integrated payments directly into your account. So what we've enabled is that someone can make a direct deposit from their bank or their mobile money directly into now their account that's been set up in Oak. So currently we have 4 options that we've integrated. There's RTGS, there's M-Pesa, there's PesaLink, and there's also check deposit. So using the methods that had initially been discussed on a previous email, or rather previous video conversations, you can be able to follow those particular steps that have been highlighted. But something that's keen to note is that you need to specifically quote your account number as per what we've mentioned during the point of account opening. Yeah. And once you follow those direct steps, either through using the means of PesaLink or M-Pesa or RTGS or check, you can be able to send money directly through those means, and you'll get a notification almost instantaneously or the moment money reflects into your account. So you won't need to reach out to your relationship manager saying, attach a copy of my check deposit, attach a copy of my proof of payment for this particular transfer, but rather you would get a real-time confirmation that we've received your money and we've confirmed that the funds are already credited into account and the investment has already started running. Even in the app, there's a functionality whereby once you've gotten a confirmation that we've received your money, you can log into the app, look under that particular section that's been written for transactions. And that particular transaction, the very latest one, will be recorded as part of the transaction for that month. However, that balance is something that now will be recorded in part of your statement at the end of the month. Because I've mentioned you can only report as at the end of the month once we close out the month and everything. Yes. But yes, we've enabled that much.
Yeah. Awesome. Is there anything you want to tell our clients before we close?
From our side, we would like to tell our clients that we're trying to make the fund as easy to operate and easy to join and easy to interact with. We're not trying to say that you should not interact with relationship managers. However, we've enabled the processes to be directly so that the fund is easy. You can interact with the app, you can interact with the portal, you can make payments directly using the integrated method, and we'll be able to service you better. And if they have any particular queries, they can be able to send through their questions or anything that they need assistance with through their relationship managers or through contacting us through either email and channels as such, and we'll be able to facilitate. Yeah, but we thank you so much for the growth and progress that we've had so far.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joshua. Thank
Great.
you, and for the work that you do for us. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that that has been informative. On the channels that are possible, like YouTube, we shall put the link for the step-by-step process for depositing money or investing in the fund. For those of you who are just like, I need a simple way, M-Pesa, or I want to be able to use PesaLink. Yeah, we'll have the step-by-step process that ensures the money is credited directly to your account. Thank you so much and have a great day.